Welcome, everybody. It's Major League Baseball. March Madness is all done and baseball is getting started. I'm talking with Ross Benjamin, Major League Baseball analyst, and Ross and I are going to break down the Chicago White Sox taking on the Oakland A's series that kicks off today. Ross, first and foremost, glad to have you back with us. I hope you had a profitable March Madness. It's baseball time, and I'm ready to bank some money. How about you?
I certainly am, and my March Madness was awfully profitable, Mike. Thank you for asking, and I hope the same was for you.
Fantastic. Yes, it was. Ross, let's get right into it. Game one, we've got a lefty on the mound for the White Sox, Chris Sale. He's very solid. I may be pronouncing that last name wrong, but he's facing Oakland's Sonny Gray, who is this right-hander is one of the most solid pitchers in baseball. Both these teams, I think, had underachieving and disappointing seasons last year. What's your take on this first game, and what's your take on these two teams in general?
Well, first of all, you're right. Both teams had disappointing years. I would personally believe that the White Sox probably had the most disappointing season out of the two clubs. I mean, this was a team that many expected to contend in the AL Central a season ago, yet they finished well behind the pace, fourth place in the five-team division with a terrible record of 76 and 86, and then Oakland just was off the map last year, losing 94 ball games. Now, having said that, this particular matchup, I really love Chris Sale as a pitcher. He was much better in his 13-11 record, may indicate a season ago in 31 starts. He had a 3.41 ERA, a solid 1.09 whip, and this guy is just a power pitcher elite. 274 strikeouts and 208 and two-thirds innings last year. Sonny Gray, 14-7 last year, Mike. 31 starts, great 2.73 ERA and a 1.08 whip. But, in his one start versus the White Sox a season ago, he struggled. 3 innings pitched in that contest, 7 runs allowed, 8 hits, walked 4, gave up 2 home runs. I'm going to give a slight lean here in Game 1, opening day, to the Chicago White Sox and Chris Sale over the Oakland A's and Sonny Gray.
Yeah, Ross, with that being said, the White Sox, and again, it's first game of the year. It's kind of hard to see how they're going to come out, who's going to be more motivated. But the White Sox have a much deeper lineup. I mean, they got some veteran players in there. Oakland does what they do best with Billy Beanball. But I'm just kind of wondering if they'll pick it up right off the bat. Will Chicago jump right out there? So I think they'll get this win tonight. What I did notice, though, in this series, they've got 3 left-handers slated to face Oakland. Yeah. That's kind of unusual to have 3 left-handers in your top 3 of your rotation.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great observation. I mean, you're looking at in Game 2, Jose Quintana going for the White Sox, and in Game 3, Carlos Rodon. So you're going to see a stacked right-handed hitting lineup for the Oakland A's. And, you touched upon a couple good points, Mike. Chicago, to me, is definitely the deeper team as far as their batting order goes. I think they have the pitching, the start pitching 1 through 3 is pretty evenly matched. But I just think that you look at Oakland's lineup, and it's not going to scare anybody, Mike.
Yeah. I mean, they got veterans like Coco Crisp still playing. They got Josh Reddick, who is their producer on offense, but it just, but they do it from time to time. They just bring up some talent out of nowhere and make a name for themselves, and I'm looking forward to the series. I'm looking forward to the whole season. In that second game with Quintana, Rich Hill is another lefty that's up and coming for Oakland. Do you have any information on him?
Well, he made 4 starts for the Red Sox last year, and he was awfully good in those 4 starts. With a 1.54 ERA and an 0.90 whip, somewhere in that area. But this is a guy that's spent the majority of the last 2 seasons in minor league baseball. He had 54 relief appearances and only 5 starts in the minors the last 2 years. Again, he was pretty good when he came up with Boston a season ago, but we'll see how he does with a full season under his belt, because they're going to depend on him heavily. Obviously, if they're putting him into the number 2 spot in the rotation. The problem I see with Hill as well is he was really shaky during spring training. 11.25 ERA in 4 starts, Mike.
Okay, Ross, and with that being said about Rich Hill, what do you think of Jose Quintana, the White Sox lefty that's going to take the mound in Game 2?
Well, Mike, I think he's one of the more underrated starting pitchers in the American League. His record may not indicate it. For example, last year, 9-10 in 32 starts with a solid 3.36 ERA. This guy's had 52 no decisions over the last back to 2012, as a matter of fact. And during that time frame, that's the most in all of Major League Baseball. So he's been a bit unlucky. And I would give the edge to Quintana here over Rich Hill, despite the brief appearances Hill showed last season and doing well in those appearances.
I think with Quintana, the same thing with Saleh. Last year, what hurt them was the lack of production offensively. They did their job on the hill. It was the offense that really kind of let them down. And I think Quintana, he stays healthy too. He's got a solid arm, and he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Going into Game 3, the White Sox are sending yet again another lefty, Carlos Rodon, against Oakland's Chris Barrett, the right-hander. Any thoughts on this Game 3?
Well, yeah, Carlos Rodon, I'm not crazy about him at all. I mean, he was 9-6 last year, but he was a beneficiary of some offensive production in his starts for whatever reason. 23 starts, 3 in relief. And then you're looking at Chris Bassett. He started the year in the bullpen a season ago, then came on as a starter, started 13 ball games. He went 1-8. But did have a very good 3.56 ERA. He was a little bit shaky in the spring. 4 spring training starts, 4.66 ERA, 150 WHIP. He walked 9 in 19 in the third innings pitched. I'm going to have a lean here. We'll see what transpires, Mike. We discussed this off air. We don't know what's going to happen between today and Wednesday. But I would say an early lean here toward a high-scoring game in Game 3.
Yeah, and excuse my mispronunciation of Bassett. I got Barrett on my mind from another sport. Yeah, I read an article about him, and they were concerned about his spring training production with the walks. So obviously he's going to have to tighten that up, and best to get that done early. Okay, viewers, you heard it. That's a preview of the Oakland A's hosting the Chicago White Sox, and in Game 1, you can cash your ticket with Ross Benjamin, who likes the White Sox to beat the Oakland A's tonight on the money line. Ross, thanks for being aboard with us, and I look forward to going through Major League Baseball season with you, and let's beat the bookie, my friend.